Welcome to my channel! Learn with Teacher Ali!
Grade 3, Science, Quarter 2, Week 2. Science in our daily life. Day 1, Objective. At the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to measure the length and width of different natural objects like leaves using a measuring tool. Jigsaw puzzle. Let the learner solve one jigsaw puzzle of an illustration showing measuring. And then answer the following questions. What does this puzzle show? What is the woman doing? What do you do when measuring? What tools can we use to measure objects such as leaves? We use tools such as a ruler and a meter stick to make our observations on length, height, and width of objects more accurate. Point specific measurements. These can be 15 millimeters in the ruler, 18 centimeters in the ruler and meter sticks, 1 meter in the meter stick. Do you know what this arrow is? This is a double-headed arrow, means we are looking at the distance from one point to another. It shows that we measure in both directions, from the start to the end, or from the end to the start. If we want to measure how long the twig is, we place a ruler next to it. The double-headed arrow tells us to measure the length from one end of the twig to the other end. How do you know that a plant is growing? Which one do you think is older? And how can you be sure? How do we know that leaves are getting bigger? This is by measuring their length and width. We can tell that leaves are getting bigger. Using measuring tools, we can accurately measure the length and width of leaves. I notice this leaf is bigger because it is longer and wider. So, the longer and wider the leaves are, the longer they are. In our previous lessons, we practiced using context clues to understand new words. Today, we will continue applying this skill to help us understand scientific terms related to measuring objects such as leaves. Number 1, the width of a leaf influences how it catches sunlight. Number 2, when measuring, always place the ruler on a straight surface. If placed on a curved surface, the measurement will be inaccurate. Number 3, sessile leaves have no petiole or part of the plants that connects the leaf blade to the stem. Now, do the activity number 1. Leaf detectives. How do you measure the length and width of leaves? Before doing the activity, prepare the materials needed. You may select 2 different leaves. Let the learners ask questions before the conduct of the activity. Materials needed. Per learner, notebook, pen, ruler, fresh leaf, such as corn or rice. Our duration is 20 minutes. What to do? Use the activity sheet to record your observations on the length and width of leaves. Make sure to write your answers in the correct column. For part B, this is prepare. Now let us measure the leaf. Do leaves have the same length and width? They differ in length and width because they have different shapes and sizes. Aside from the ruler, what other simple equipment can you use to accurately measure the length and width of leaves? Now, students, answer the following questions. Answer the assessment. Write your answers on a sheet of paper. Science in our daily life, Day 2. Objective. At the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to compare natural objects like leaves based on their measured length and width using a table. Which leaf is the longest? And which is the widest? Earlier, we made guesses about which leaf was the longest and widest. But did you know that sometimes what looks longer may not actually be the longest? Look closely. Which one do you think is longer? Are you sure? Answer the activity number 2. Which leaf is longer and wider? Before doing the activity, prepare the materials needed. You may select 2 different leaves. Let the learners ask questions before the conduct of the activity. Here are the materials needed and our duration is for 20 minutes. For Part B, refer to your data table. And now, answer the following questions. For our measuring challenge, here are the materials needed. Per learner is notebook, and then per group, 1 ruler, 1 meter stick, 1 tape measure. And then per class, 5 to 10 fresh leaves from different plants that are readily available in your community posted around the walls of the classroom. Note, when possible, include a banana leaf. Imagine that you are detectives. You must identify 2 leaves. 1 leaf must be the longest among all others and the other leaf must be the widest. To succeed in this investigation, you must accurately measure the length and width of the leaves. And then after that, answer the following questions. Now, answer the assessment. Write the letter of the correct answer on a sheet of paper. Use capital letters only. Science in our daily life, Day 3. Objective. At the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to recognize patterns to make predictions. Jigsaw puzzle. Let the learners solve a jigsaw puzzle of an illustration related to predicting. What does this puzzle show? How do we know it might rain? Predicting is a skill using observed patterns to guess or infer what will happen in the future. It is important to have good observations to be able to identify patterns and make predictions. What happens when you throw an apple up in the air? Episodic map illustrating Isaac Newton's discovery of gravity. Number 1 is observing. Newton sees an apple fall. Number 2, experimenting. He throws different objects and observes the same pattern. And number 3, discovering. He formulates the idea that all objects are pulled downward by a force. For today, you have to make careful observations just like what Isaac Newton did, and recognize patterns, which is an important step in making predictions. Let us define the following words. Routine or nakagawian is regular or usual. The plow or verb or araro is using a tool to break up and loosen the soil. This helps prepare the ground for planting seeds so the plants can grow well. The weeds or the damo are plants that grow in places where they are not intended, often among crops or in gardens. They can compete with other plants for sunlight, water, and nutrients, which is why weeds are removed to help crops grow better. Harvest or mag-ani. Gather fruits or vegetables when they are fully grown, ready to eat or sell. The ripe or hinog is ready to eat or mature. Crops are the pananim o ani. It is a cultivated plants for food. Products or produkto. Items made, grown, or created that people use or sell. Let us read the story about the life of a farmer. Mang Eddie is a farmer who lives in the province. Every day, he follows the same routine. Early in the morning, he takes his tools to the farm. He plows the soil, removes the weeds, plants seeds, and waters the crops. In the afternoon, he harvests the ripe crops and prepares the products for selling. In the evening, he goes home, eats dinner with his family, and cleans his tools. Now let's have our activity number 3. Spot the pattern. Can you arrange the events? And then after that, answer the following questions. Weather trivia. Students, what is the weather like today? Is it sunny, rainy, or cloudy? Do you think it will rain tomorrow? Why or why not? How do we know if it might rain soon? And what signs do we look for? The weather scientists are called meteorologists, can make weather forecasts using predicting skills. Meteorologists look for patterns in the atmosphere using science equipment, one of which is a satellite, which takes pictures of Earth's cloud formations every hour. Using a semantic web, draw a web diagram connecting the key ideas from this lesson. Put together what we have learned about predicting. One way to understand how predictions are made is by organizing our ideas in a web diagram. How can you arrange the sequence of events in an activity? What clues did you use? I can arrange the sequence of events by carefully observations of what is going on in an activity. I use patterns as clues. By doing so, I am able to think of the possible events that can happen in the activity. Science in our daily life, Day 4. Objective. At the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to make predictions of real-life events such as plant growth, changes in water levels, and behavior of water on different surfaces based on measurement and observed patterns. What happens next? What pattern did you observe in this illustration? Why do you think so? Complete the table. K is what I know. Ask the learners, what do you know about predicting? W, what I want to know. What else do you want to know about it? What happens if one step is skipped? If we don't water the plants, they might dry up and die. How do we know what comes next? Just like in farming, we can predict changes in objects by looking for patterns. Now let's have our activity number 4. Pattern is pattern. What's next? And then after that, answer the following questions. Now let's have a coin and water challenge. The materials needed are 1 medicine dropper, 4 coins of different sizes. These can be 25 centavo, 1 peso, 5 peso, and 10 peso coins, and a cup of water. How many drops of water can fit in these coins? Which coin can hold the most number of drops of water without spilling? Now let's have a think, pair, share strategy. How do you make predictions? After the discussion of learners' answer to the key idea, ask them to complete the KWLA chart by reviewing the K and W columns and answering the questions what I learned in the L column and how I can apply what I learned in the A column. And then after that, do the assessment.
Thank you for watching! Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell for you to be updated on our latest videos. See you on our next lesson. Goodbye!